This is one of those times in history when man tries to play God, and as you'll guess, it didn't turn out great. So it's the early 1900s, and the world is buzzing with new ideas about science and evolution. One man in Russia starts wondering if he can blend humans and apes to create something totally new, a human-ape hybrid. It sounds like science fiction, but it was real. This experiment actually happened in our recent history. Welcome to the Mad Scientist series, where we explore times when crazy science experimenting went too far. Today, we're exploring the story of the Soviet human-ape hybrid experiments. We'll dissect this fascinating event from the spark of an idea to its quiet end, and uncover the myths that grew around it. If you love tales of wild science that push boundaries, hit subscribe now so you catch more like this in the ongoing series. And give a like if you're curious about what happens when ambition meets ethics. Let's start at the beginning. The story kicks off with Ilya Ivanov, born in 1870 in a small Russian town. As a kid, he was drawn to the natural world, always asking questions about animals and how they work. He went to school and became a vet, focusing on breeding better livestock. This was a time when farms needed stronger horses and healthier cows to keep up with a growing world. So it's safe to conclude that Ivanov was always fully booked. Ivanov got good at artificial insemination, a way to help animals have babies without the usual pairing. He practiced on horses first, and it worked so well that he became known around the world. Farms in Russia and beyond started using his methods. But success made him bold. Around 1900, he began mixing different species. He crossed a zebra with a donkey, creating what people called a z-donk. It was odd, but it proved hybrids could happen in nature's close relatives. This got him thinking deeper. Charles Darwin's book on evolution was still fresh in minds. Darwin said humans and apes share a common past, like branches on the same tree. Ivanov wondered, if that's true, could we prove it by making a hybrid? It wasn't just curiosity. He was actively cooking up plans to try this theory. Around the same time in Russia, old religious views clashed with new science. It was the perfect time for Ivanov to show evolution was real, maybe even shake faith in creation stories. So, in 1910, he shared his ideas at a big animal science meeting. The room went quiet. People whispered about ethics, but Ivanov brushed it off. He believed if it was possible, it should be tried. Life changed fast for Ivanov because in 1917, the Bolshevik Revolution flipped Russia upside down. The new Soviet leaders wanted to build a modern, godless society. They poured money into science to prove they were ahead. Religion was seen as old junk holding people back. Ivanov spotted his opening. By 1924, he pitched his hybrid plan to the government. Not for super soldiers, that's a later myth that developed around the story. His initial reason was to advance breeding science and back Darwin's ideas. The Soviets liked the anti-religion angle. They gave him funds, equal to about $200,000 in today's money. There are reports that Ivanov's experiment was linked to Stalin, but it is important to clarify that at the time, Joseph Stalin was busy climbing to power after Lenin's death that year. With cash in hand, Ivanov planned his first big step. Apes weren't in Russia, so he looked to Africa. In March 1926, he sailed to French Guinea, a colony full of wild chimpanzees. Then, without wasting time, he organized local hunters to help catch 3 young female chimps. Back at his makeshift lab, he tried inseminating them with human sperm. Days turned to weeks, but no pregnancies. The chimps were too young, or maybe the science just didn't click. This must have been so frustrating. I mean, this man was not used to failure. He excelled at everything he did. So the fact that there were no pregnancies after many tries gave him sleepless nights. But Ivanov was not one to quit so easily. Frustrated, Ivanov flipped the plan. What if he used chimp sperm on human women? That could work. And for a brief moment, the excitement he felt at the beginning of this experiment returned. But he didn't think about consent. He wanted to trick local women during fake medical exams, and so when word got to the French governor, he shut it down hard. He said this is wrong and sent Ivanov packing. This failure stung, but it pushed him home. Back in Russia by late 1926, he didn't give up. The Soviets set up a chimp nursery in Sukhumi, a warmer spot by the Black Sea. And in 1927, 20 chimps arrived from Africa. The trip was rough. Only 4 made it alive. Heartbreaking, but Ivanov pressed on. He found 5 women who volunteered, some for the pay, others maybe for the science thrill. Exams showed they were healthy. Inseminations happened over months. Everyone waited, hopeful. But again, nothing. No signs of life. Eventually, the chimps started dying from the cold climate and poor conditions. By 1929, the last one was gone. Ivanov's dream slipped away. But did you know? One chimp, named Tarzan, became sort of a mascot. He lived longest, but even he couldn't bridge the gap. As experiments fizzled, Ivanov's funds dried up. The science community lost interest. Ethics questions grew louder. Was this right? Meanwhile, Stalin solidified power by 1930. He started purges, targeting anyone who seemed off. Ivanov got caught in the net and ultimately accused of stirring trouble. He was really just too independent for the regime. Exiled to cold Kazakhstan, Ivanov lived quietly until a stroke took him in 1932. His old friend, Ivan Pavlov, the dog experiment guy, wrote a kind obituary, but Ivanov's work ended there. No hidden labs, no follow-ups. Science moved to other things like better crops and medicine. Yet, the story didn't die. Rumors spread during the Cold War. Some said Stalin ordered ape armies, strong, loyal fighters for endless work. It fit the evil dictator image, but dig deeper and it's bunk. A 1990s article started it with no real sources. Folks against evolution grabbed it to say, see, science has gone mad. Years later, a chimp named Oliver popped up in the 1970s. He walked on 2 legs, looked a bit human. People said he was a hybrid, maybe from Ivanov's time. He became so much of a media sensation that in 1996, tests were carried out. But nope, he was a full chimp with 48 chromosomes, not the human 46. Just a unique guy. Today, we know why it failed. Chromosomes don't match, immune systems fight it. Modern tools like gene editing exist, but for healing diseases, not making hybrids. Ethics boards say no. Ivanov's tale warns us, curiosity is great, but some paths lead to trouble. From a curious kid to a bold experimenter, Ivanov's journey chased a wild dream through revolution, failure, and exile. It showed science's power and its limits. What if he succeeded? Would it change how we see ourselves, or just cause chaos? Tell me your take in the comments. Like and subscribe to this channel, and definitely check our other videos in the Mad Scientist series.